Welcome to the chaos sector. We return to the political matrix. Danger, danger, it's really getting bad for old Joe. And the Democrats as a whole, they're gradually losing the black vote, which will be devastating for their political power. But also losing Tulsi Gabbard was definitely a significant loss as well. Gabbard was one of the more sensible Democrats amongst the wacky colleagues we've come to know. I would give Van Jones that credit as well. He at least was willing to have those important debates without losing his mind. These people are literally paid over hundreds of thousands of dollars to sit around and throw mud on each other's faces. It's the American political pastime, I guess. But the Nancy Pelosi's, Chuck Schumer's, Maxine Waters, they've destroyed the Democratic Party over the last 20 years. See, Democrats used to be a party of common sense. If you're politically informed, you would know that the very Democrats fighting for illegal immigrants were the same Democrats trying to strengthen the borders not too long ago. I recall one in Chuck Schumer, essentially claiming was a threat to democracy not too long ago. This was during the Obama administration. It was considered a, quote, existential threat. Yet now he's fighting alongside Pelosi to bring them in without caution. Nancy Pelosi was claiming the same thing not too long ago. Now she's fighting tooth and nail for illegal immigrants? How does all of this compute? It doesn't. Even the Obama administration deported more illegal immigrants in his first term, compared to Trump, who they claim is racist towards those groups of people. So what do you conclude here? Nonsense. And we have to specify they are literally fighting for illegal immigrants to enter the country. It is not just about immigrants, given the opportunity to become natural citizens or permanent residents. It is about allowing illegal immigrants, man or woman, into the country. But Gabbard has always seemed to lean towards Republicans, in my opinion. In politics, I can at least give her credit for upholding a sense of class, dignity, and patriotism, attributes politicians should represent to the American people. Now, don't fall asleep. Gabbard does have similar political agendas as many corrupt politicians, but you can tell who's much more genuine within the political matrix. She stays out of the mudslinging, doesn't really bash the opposing parties. Gabbard is more of an independent in nature. Now Gabbard does display subliminal messaging through the symbolism of colors. One minute she's wearing a red jacket, the next minute she's wearing a white jacket, and the next minute she's wearing a blue jacket. If you didn't catch it, those would be the colors of the American flag. Now it could be her way of representing her patriotism, but she would do better in being an outright independent with color schemes. When she was a Democrat, Gabbard was somewhat the dark horse of the party. As a Republican, she becomes somewhat the new blood of the party. There may be the need to be a part of either political power to get your message out over the loudspeakers in mainstream media, but her message is more of an independent, who rarely get any attention from mainstream media. Why? Because there isn't an independent mainstream media outlet. Once again, Democrats for non-whites, Republicans for whites. You have CNN, you have MSNBC, and you have Fox News. All of them are in the business of mudslinging against each other. And the only network that could be considered nonpartisan would be The Hill. Sure, but we all know the major networks control the narratives in politics. Heck, if anyone truly cared about politics, they would watch C-SPAN. Now that's as nonpartisan as it can get, due to simply reporting straight from the White House. But society is divided into two groups, left versus right, Democrats versus Republicans, liberals versus conservatives. Everything in between gets overshadowed by these major political influences. Independents establish that they vote for what makes sense, not due to a specific party to flock to. And she would have done better to run as an independent in the long run. But at least she upholds class and integrity. Unlike the AOCs of the world, she's one of the unhinged elitists who crave the spotlight. And this spotlight generates power, and of course the influence. Let's examine AOC's push for another term for old Joe. Then we'll listen to what the Republican Gabbard has to say about it.
Let's talk about AOC now. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She had quite the weekend at the Bronx. Here she is coming to the stage like she's some sort of a gangster rap star. Pity the crowd was so teeny tiny small.
Now, first of all, the pandering is out of this world. Just because you're in Bronx, New York, it doesn't mean you have to play rap music at the rally. And playing Cardi B on top of that? One of the most sexualized female rappers who only rap about materialism and sex? When she's not rapping, she sounds like an idiot. Well, to be honest, she sounds like an idiot even in her music. But this is what AOC and the left do all the time. They use celebrities such as Cardi B to appeal to a base that they assume approves of that garbage. Some do, of course, but this is just being pretentious and artificial. If it were a Republican blasting Cardi B's music to a crowd of black and brown residents, they would be actually magnifying the slated racism against those groups and pandering to those groups for votes, right? But Democrats can get away with this because once again they are depicted as the party of diversity. If you say so, of course. How about playing rap artists that have a message of consciousness, unity, and love? Oh, you think those residents love Cardi B, which they may actually do, so you appeal to that base. See, this is the problem with elitists. They patronize those below them, while those citizens see someone who appears to be passionate. The rally was just to provoke an emotional connection to the Democratic Party. Or better yet, regenerate the emotional connection to the Democratic Party.
And here is AOC demonstrating that she's confused about just who is running the country because she wants to fight to win the country back. Your party is running the show, Sandy.
Are you ready to win this country back? And are you ready to fight for peace on earth, a ceasefire in I don't know about y'all, but I am ready to fight. Let's hear it.
I mean, why couldn't she show some class? Oh, she shows plenty of class in her private life, with her white boyfriend in a white supremacist country, yeah. Where's your Latino boyfriend, AOC? I'm sure there were a lot of them out there dying to date you. Are they not sophisticated enough? What about Puerto Rican men? Don't you find them sophisticated? Democrats have this gift. It's called shape-shifting, or you know it as culture appropriating. Do you remember the committee hearing between AOC and Taylor Greene? I'm sure you do. In that hearing, Jasmine Crockett, a black woman, was also involved. But AOC, trying to appeal to Jasmine's, quote, blackness, called Taylor Greene baby girl.
Absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person.
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Why don't you debate me?
Talking with more urban lingo to make herself appear, quote, real. And the whole worked as a bartender struggle story is a farce. Her father was an architect, give me a break. They make almost $100,000 annually. She worked as a bartender, but certainly had a lot of financial support from daddy, yet tries to make it seem as if she struggled with the typical 9 to 5. This is the problem. If you're from a wealthy background, then so be it. But don't attempt to identify with those from the middle to lower class by creating a struggle story. She doesn't speak that way behind closed doors, but around blacks and other non-white groups of people, she tries to, quote, be down with the cause.
Oh, really?
This has always been the problem with Democrats, yet it has worked historically. Not sure if it's going to work this time around. Then we had a black man who was a Democrat come out on stage with AOC, and guess how he was introduced? The same way.
And then she introduced another Democrat, Congressman Jamaal Bowman, and things just got more wacky from there.
What am I supposed to do? You coming after me. You coming after my family. You coming after my children. I'm not supposed to fight back. I'm not supposed to fight back. We're gonna show them who the we are. We're gonna show them who the we are.
Oh dear, you thought AOC was uncouth. Get a load of Jamaal. And obviously, with all the issues in New York right now, you'd think he'd be focused on, I don't know, crime, illegal immigration, cost of living pressures. No, it's all about Gaza.
And telling them to vote for Jamaal Bowman.
Ceasefire now, y'all. That's what we're doing. Ceasefire now. Let's get it popping. The polls are open today. The polls are open tomorrow.
Oh, sure. Just because there are black and brown people at the rally, the black man has to come out with rap music. But it was a rap song that they had to censor on the news. So there was profanity in those rap songs, perhaps even spreading a violent message. And this is what you want to identify with as a Congress member. And what were they yelling about throughout the rally? AOC and Congress member Jamaal Bowman are yapping about ending the war between Palestine and Israel, yet can't even rally the American citizens about a message for, well, American citizens. And Bowman had the nerve to say, our U.S. tax dollars kill children, women, and babies? Are you referring to the war between Palestine and Israel? You have to be referring to that, because abortion is killing children, women, and babies. But that's what you support. So what the hell are you even? Ugh.
And there's more. This Bowman character. Oh yeah, he's a piece of work. Bowman pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor for pulling a fire alarm in a house office building on Capitol Hill, September of last year. In his press release, he claimed that he accidentally pulled the fire alarm, thinking it would open a door which he alleged was locked for some reason. Yeah, it already sounds ridiculous. But the video footage shows a completely different story. Bowman not only knew it was a fire alarm, but he is seen taking the emergency exit signs off the doors prior to pulling the fire alarm, and of course proceeded to do so. Why is this important? Well, in his initial response, he claimed that it was a mistake, and it was not an attempt to delay the vote on government funding, which Republicans alleged. He lied about it. In fact, he walked past several Capitol Police officers without telling any of them that he pulled the alarm, nor that there wasn't a fire in the building. So he pulled the fire alarm to, in fact, delay the votes on government funding, didn't inform Capitol Police officers that he did so, and there wasn't an actual fire, and he lied claiming it was an accident. Is this how Congress members behave? Rhetorical. Right, now doesn't this put the entire insurrection into perspective? Insiders plotting and scheming within those buildings, and even the so-called insurrectionists running all throughout? It was said that they were let into the building, so if they were let in, well, that's self-explanatory. Observing Bowman on camera, taking the emergency exit signs off the doors, and then pulling the fire alarm should have had far stiffer penalties. See, the issue here is the intentions behind it. This is not some 12-year-old at the grocery store who pulls the fire alarm as a prank. This is an adult, not only an adult, but a member of Congress, who pulled the fire alarm to delay a vote, which led to a panic in the building, of course. He should have faced at least a year in jail, but then again, he's a Democrat. In fact, the Democrats were behind that ploy. Yep. And I guess it's fitting that AOC and Bowman are seen jumping all over each other. She probably convinced him to pull the alarm. Jumping around, playing at the rally in the Bronx, is the same careless and unprofessional behavior they display in congressional hearings. You have to remember, some of these individuals were former mayors and governors, but some have no political experience whatsoever. We know AOC had no experience prior, went from being a spoiled brat as a bartender to somehow catapulting into becoming a Congress member. I've heard of the American dream, but this is not an example of that. This is an illusion. In other words, she's not really a Congress member. Many of them aren't, to be honest. Bowman and AOC are exactly what's wrong with Democrats. They're these pseudo-progressives who feel entitled to do and say whatever they want, and everyone should accept and respect it.
And I noticed in all of our research into this incident, the mainstream media tried to make it appear that it was an accident by showing screenshots of the footage. Yet, the video footage clearly shows him going to the emergency exit, taking the signs off the door, and proceeding to pull the fire alarm. Damage control as always. This type of behavior indicates dishonesty, malicious motives, and flat-out criminal tendencies. What do you expect with corrupt politicians? You know what? It's beyond comprehension how wacky the left has become. Now, this rally was for Jamaal Bowman, yet this same man was caught on camera committing a crime in a building on Capitol Hill, and he initially lied about it, claiming he accidentally pulled the fire alarm, attempting to avoid the crimes. I guess nobody cares about integrity, hey? If he did that to delay a vote, then he has the propensity to commit other crimes and policy violations. And yet he's being celebrated? We did a bit of research on Bowman, and guess what he has in common with AOC? That's right, he's a socialist. And it would explain why senior citizen Bernie Sanders had attended the rally as well. So you had three socialists in Bowman, AOC, and Grandpa Sanders all sharing the same oxygen. Of course, it would be insanity. You know, the truth behind it all is Joe Biden is the senile grandpa whose grandchildren are running around trashing the house, and he's too old to do anything about it. That's the Democratic Party right now. The wackos are in the background, and they dump the old man in front to take the blame. That's horrible, don't you think? Let Grandpa Joe retire already. Stop humiliating him this way. Trump is not a spring chicken neither, but at least he's still functional and can still motivate the American people. Someone assumed that we support Trump and the Republican Party. No, haven't you been paying attention? This is the political matrix. All of it is a sham. But what we focus on the most is the most damaging elements within the political parties, and that would be the Democratic Party. If it were Republicans running around like chickens with their heads cut off, we'd focus on them more so than Democrats. Democrats have the most social destructive policies and ideals. That's why we focus on them more so. And we will be getting into those issues in the social matrix. So yeah, it's all a bunch of garbage. We're here to take the trash out.
Exactly. The closer we get to the presidential election, the wackier the Democrats will get. There is a distinction, of course. It is the liberals within the Democratic Party that are destroying it. There are genuine Democrats. They just lost one in Gabbard to the Republicans. But the problem in that party is the crazies run the show, and that is why they are in panic mode. And more pandering in an event in Las Vegas, old Joe found out that there would be a large Latin crowd, so he had a mariachi band perform at the event.
Fox News contributor and former Democratic presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard joins us now. Tulsi, can AOC save Joe Biden?
No. Decisively no. And I think the fact that they're trotting her out like this just points to yet again how the Biden administration, number one, is failing to recognize that the problems are their policies, not the messenger. Just because you bring out a different messenger doesn't mean that the message or the consequences of their policies will change. And quite frankly, I find it insulting to Hispanic voters, to women voters, that the Biden-Harris administration think that they are so stupid and so superficial that simply bringing out a Hispanic woman to go and tell them to vote for Joe Biden, that they will just say, oh, well, gosh, now I'm convinced I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. The reality is that regardless of people's sex or their ethnicity or their race, we are all feeling the negative consequences of the Biden-Harris administration's policies. Whether it's the increased cost of groceries and cost of living, it is our streets becoming more and more dangerous, the consequences of our open borders making our country less secure, or the fact that we are closer to World War III and nuclear Armageddon now than before. The consequences are very real. They think we are too stupid to see what's really going on, so they're playing the old, identity politics card, thinking that they can manipulate us just so that they can stay in power.
I mean, not just sending a Latina woman, they sent a mariachi band. Tulsi, they also are doing soccer ads for Latinos where Joe's buying tacos. I mean, that's like appealing to white guys by what? Throwing like a badminton party? Is this going to stick?
I don't see how people can take them seriously when they are being so offensive and insulting in the way that they're trying to reach out to voters. This election is the most serious of our lifetimes, given what's at stake. They're handing out tacos and trotting out mariachi bands while they are simultaneously undermining our fundamental rights and freedoms. They are weaponizing our Department of Justice, undermining the rule of law, and attacking the foundations of our country. We won't allow them to get away with this. We can't.
All right. Tulsi Gabbard, thank you so much. Have a great week.
I mean, this is flat out insulting. The reason we know it's not an appreciation for multiculturalism is because, well, you're a corrupt politician. A corrupt politician can't embrace multiculturalism. They will only exploit it to their benefit. They all kneel with African attire, simply for attention. Nothing more. It's all about narcissism at the highest level possible. Hey, look at us. We need to show the black community that we are sincere. Please continue to vote for us, because Republicans didn't kneel like we did. The Republicans think all Mexicans are rapists. Here, we'll show you that we care for you by having a mariachi band perform and serve tacos at the rally. Speaking of tacos, what about Jill Biden's comments about Latinos? Latinos are just as unique as a breakfast taco. What the hell? If we combine this statement with old Joe's statements about the black and brown communities, the president and the first lady have some explaining to do. Yeah, I mean, this is elitism, prejudice, stereotypes, and get this, even racist. See, when someone is an elitist, they don't identify with the 99%. Their views about other cultures is from a place of ignorance, and often they make comments out of that ignorance. But other times, things slip out about how they view a particular group of people. Yet once again, based on the political matrix, Democrats can get away with it because they can't be racist. Only Republicans can. All of them view society as a herd of sheep. You're just a statistic in the voting polls. It's disgusting. We called it years ago while Democrats were so busy focusing on Donald Trump. They did not pay attention to their own party and presenting quality candidates. Obama was their last candidate that at least presented some dignity of the party. Irregardless of everything else, he was the last candidate that the American people could appreciate. After Obama, they went right back to the doldrums, pushing Hillary Clinton out there. And of course, the age just kept getting older and older, with old Joe as the last candidate. Where are all the progressives? Where is the young, fresh faces, the candidates that resonate with the younger generations? Can't teach an old dog new tricks, I see, because it's time to lay the dog down. All of that time exhausted on the orange puppet, and look what it has got them. The American people will still end up supporting Trump throughout all of the mudslinging Democrats have done. When mudslinging goes wrong, right? If you do the same thing over and over and it doesn't work, what is this classified as? You all know the answer to that, and it's being displayed every time you look to the left. The right is more discreet with theirs at least. This is the chaos sector.